Why is there no sound? Why is there no sound? What's happened to the video? The video is busted. But it fixed? They were fixed. Our Streamlabs has died a death. For whatever reason, it's not working properly. But we can ignore that because we are here in the F2 Rwagnation League race on the Saturday. And we're in Hungary today. I'm Ben McConnell, as per normal. Don't expect anything different from me other than top-end entertainment as we are getting the drivers ready for their one-shot qualifying right here, right now. I'm not sure what happened there. I just reset it. That's all I did. Interesting, but it's fixed, and that's what matters. So I'm going to go with Kai Pacini. Actually did really well last week. Do I go with him again? Yeah, I'm going to go with him again. He's actually told me he's doing really, really well in terms of the time trial lap times. And maybe I looked a little bit too soon. That's turn 1. So you get the exit now, get the DRS wide open as well, and get yourself ready in the run into this hard braking zone for turn 2. Bit hard there on the brakes, nicely round. Now clip the apex there, run a bit wide, but not too wide, and he's done that perfectly. Get ready for a very quick left-hander here. Break up the security safety car board and get really far down and onto the hard long right-hander. We have lost Toto. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to get himself back into this or not. I've sent everybody invites, so they should hopefully be able to do that. Kai's lap is not looking the fastest, and that's why you've got Yolta and 6 other drivers ahead of Kai. Yolta's currently leading. I don't know if that was invalidated. He ran seriously wide there. Very fast right-hander here in the F1 cars, at least. In the F2 cars, it's not as fast, but still, you're doing 150 miles an hour when you get to the end of that straight. Coming to the final sector, long left-hander. This left-hander seems to just go on forever. And then eventually you get the exit. Come up to the final corner. You can't just accelerate around the corner. You have to let the car roll around it, but getting the exit is crucial. And you don't want to have that happen, so it just tank slaps a little bit. Does finish P1 and 3/10 almost ahead of Marky Mark, who's P2. Dan P3, Absinthe P4. Kai recovers a little bit, gets himself to P5. Rexon P6, and Fossetti P7. So good stuff. Ready for the actual feature race that's going to be coming up in just a second. I don't even know who I can put my money on, to be honest. It's just such an interesting grid. Anything can happen when it comes to these F2 cars. So Yolta is going to be sitting on pole position with Marky Mark there in second. Dan in third with Absinthe in fourth. Kai Pacini in fifth. Rex in sixth. Fossetti seventh. Vierkamp eighth. Tortor ninth. Rotograph 10th. And Lollyland is in 11th place. Interestingly, Rotograph did his time on the medium compound tyres. So either, he's trying to do something a bit different in this race. Yeah, that strategy's gone straight out the window. So unfortunately for Rotograph, he will not be starting on those tyres at all. It's going to be a very wet start to the Hungary for feature race. And yeah, turn 1, I'm expecting a bit of carnage, to be honest. I don't think it's going to be as clean as as clean as you would normally see. We may be looking at sort of open lobby territory here, but we'll give them the chance. Those beeps signify that we are about to get underway. Excuse me, my voice. In fact, you know what I need? I need one of these. Ready? There it is. Perfect. Right. Everything I need was in that little sip. Everything we're going to need now is on this track. Wet weather conditions. Driver's going to be prepping for the formation lap. And we're going to talk about the predictions. Yolta, we've obviously seen him in many leagues. We see him especially in the Rwagnation League. Very quick driver. Already got issues further downfield. Was that McFreely? Nope. Who was that? Was that Dan? I think Dan made a big mistake. He did. Dan's had a big off already. We're not even yet to the first corner on the formation lap. So interesting stuff to be seen here. Kai watching these ahead as well. That's Rexon who's lost it. Oh, and he's been reset. He's been removed from the formation lap, so that's not good news for him. It's a big sad indeed. I still haven't managed to get my tweet done to say, we're live, let's go! So I'm doing that now. Oh, Fossetti again, back end just kicking out. Oh, a little bit, and again. Fawcetti is the kind of guy that will always like, really push the car to its limits. He's also the sort of person who seems to go further than the car can actually handle, and that's when you end up seeing him retire from races. I mean, last week we saw him take a part in the Germany Grand Prix, and yes, he was going more for team orders than he was for himself. He did end up DNF in that race. Not quite the best. He was really pushing everything though to try and hold the rest of the drivers behind, and he just couldn't do it. Fawcetti, his teammate is in here. It's McFreely down there in P12. It's so good to see McFreely back. I haven't seen him race properly in a little while. Actually, there's only 11 drivers as Toto hasn't been able to return. Let's see if we can get that sorted. There we go. Tweet has been done. We are now ready as they come around the final corner. A lot of cars actually got reset to the grid after having their formation lap invalidated, which is not good. Either be contact or just run into the wall, or all sorts of stuff can happen. But their tyres will be freezing cold in these conditions. And now the moment I've been waiting for. I thought this moment wouldn't happen for a while, but the 5 lights are on. We're about to get underway with the Hungarian F2 Grand Prix. Very delayed start, but we are away. Nobody's lost their cars just yet. A little bit of a wobble there in the middle of the pack. Who was that? Was that Fabik? I'm just tearing it through. He is. He's really going for it now. Fawcetti in a similar sort of situation. Kai is about to get swarmed by other cars around him. McFreely gets a penalty for colliding with Rotograph. More collisions up ahead. You got a little bit of touch in everywhere. Left, right, centre. Marky Mark has actually lost it. He's going to be coming across the car. That's Kai Bacchini gets caught up in that as well. Don't think he has wing damage. Nope, take that back. He has no left wing pretty much at all. So he's going to have to come to the pits and recover. Gets a penalty as well for hitting Marky Mark. Although that was realistically not his fault. It was Marky Mark really who just couldn't control the car on the exit. Veerkamp though trying to close up on the back of Fawcetti. It's not quite worked out as it stands. I'm trying to see if it's going to be... Oh, big wobble in the back there. Was that Kai again? Yeah, it was. Kai just having issues throughout now. Still keeping very firm eyes locked on the drivers at the front because Fawcetti's managed to work himself up to P3. That is... I mean, this is the sort of conditions that he thrives in, right? He's very good in these sorts of scenarios. He doesn't seem to struggle too much, so it's great that he can do that. But at the same time, you've just seen him run off track. He's coming back on track in a safe manner. But yeah, I mean, it's brutal to say the least. Tor. Alright, I've asked for somebody to invite Tortor back in just because obviously Tortor couldn't get in as the game kicked him out. But fingers crossed somebody gets them an invite. I can't send one, sadly. I do usually send more than one. I thought I'd send it to everyone, but clearly missed Tortor. Yolta already crossed the line and taking the first fastest lap, 152.604. Yolta's still leading. Dan actually chasing down here. These two could be scrapping pretty much the entire race, you know, because they're both very quick drivers. I've never seen them race in F2 cars before. Yolta makes a big mistake there. Here comes Dan looking for an opportunity. It's going to be a tough one. Going through. McFreely gets a penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Looks like they're going for the inside here on Yolta, but he can't get it. There's just not enough grip, and that means he runs a bit deep. They stay exactly how they are, but Mr. Fawcetti is not that far away from this battle, and he's got Absinthe chasing him down. It's just really whether or not he can hold it out. Dan, though, closing up even more in Yolta's. Yolta's making even more mistakes. And this is the sort of territory that you don't really want to make it. Oh, Yolta's really wobbling that car. He's off track. He's got a penalty. That's extending the track limits. I think he was expecting that to happen. He's just trying to get his foot down as quick as he can, and he just can't. That means Dan will now take the race lead, and Fawcetti's brought himself closer to the back of the Carlin car. If Fawcetti can maintain this, he might actually be able to look for a potential P2 here. Yolta's obviously making mistakes. Fawcetti's not yet had a penalty. Yes, he's made mistakes, but he's not yet had a penalty, and that is very crucial, to say the least. Absinthe, though, he's worked his way up. A little bit of contact there between the two of them. Didn't expect it to be of anything to worry about, and it still isn't. But the concern there, oh, Forseti. Here comes Absinthe, then down the inside as Forseti makes a mistake, gets very out of shape. Forseti's trying to stay alongside of him in the run towards the final corner. I think he might be able to hold this out. It's looking good. And yes, he has. Forseti stays in P3, lost it, recovered it, and carries on pushing as hard as he possibly can now, trying to close up to Yolta. But Yolta is outside of DRS. Not that we're going to have any DRS because it's far too wet for any of that sort of stuff. But again, Forseti runs wide. Absinthe manages to get down the inside. There was a little bit of a kiss there between the two vehicles. And again, another one. Absinthe is Tokyo drifting around. He's on the grass now, almost into the wall. He's kept himself just out of trouble. No damage on that car, but he has lost a lot of time now as a result of that. So he's going to be trying to recover, lick his wounds a little bit. Faircamp's actually closing in on him a little bit. That's Forseti making a big mistake there. He's got wing damage. That right hand side has just been destroyed. So again, like I said, he pushes his car to the limit, but then sometimes it just pushes it a little bit too far. And he ends up getting that wing damage, and that now has sent him down to P5 with Marky Mark sizing him up already, looking to go around the outside of arguably one of the hardest corners on this track to go side by side with someone, and he's currently doing it. In towards now the very quick chicane. Forseti is sticking his nose in there, staying inside of it, has actually pushed Marky Mark out wide and had to cut the track as a result. Forseti loses, I say loses, he already lost the position, but he's not been able to regain that position despite the situation that happened. And so Marky Mark will go P5, 3.8 seconds gap to him and Faircamp, although Faircamp is actually closing in on the final podium spot of Absinthe. 7/10 is the gap. Absinthe is 5.5 away from Yolta, who's 2.1 away from Dan. It's not working out well for them at all. Absinthe has just seemed to be, I don't know, struggling ever since that little off earlier. And yeah, I mean, there's no wing damage. I don't see any end plates missing. On a track like this, you need the end plates. Definitely need the end plates. So race leader, Dan, had a really good start. I mean, on the formation lap, you'd have thought that Dan would have binned it after the mistake that was made. But no, he's all right. He's doing well. He's learned from his mistakes and trying to just push away from this now. Yolta's had a little bit of a catch-up series there, and he's slowly but surely bringing himself closer to Dan. There is a pit stop being made for Forseti, and you remember you saw Rex and McFriedlich and Rotograph all check themselves into the pits after the first lap. After the first couple of laps, sorry, and now they've gone onto a new set of wets. Front wing's been replaced. They're going to just try and maintain their pace, see what they can deliver. As Lollyland and Kai Bacchini swap places, Lollyland made a mistake there, looks like. No contact was made between the two, despite the fact that Kai has got wing damage. He's decided to stay out, trying to just commit and carry on going as far deep as he can with the situation he's got. But this is going to be a very tough scenario for him to be trying to push this through on. So what Kai can do, I'm not sure. Rexon, who's Lollyland's teammate, is actually making moves on Forseti. Forseti just came out of the pit lane, and you can see Rexon trying to get a solid exit. A bit of a twitch there, nothing too severe. Oh, there it is. That's the severe one. Big mistake there from Rexon. Couldn't quite bring himself into an attack range for Forseti, and both of them were scrambling to just get a good exit out the corner. And that's why you saw so many twitches, so many mistakes. Forseti, oh, I thought he was going to lose it again there. And when he got on the curve, I was like, he's got to go. There's no way that he's not going to be able, that he's going to be able to keep this car together. But he has. P8 still on the table for Forseti. Points, more importantly. And remember, points mean prizes, as one famous celebrity once said. But Dan is still maintaining that lead. The gap between Faircamp and Absinthe has actually dropped off massively. 2.2 seconds is the gap. Rexon is the only car close enough to potentially attack somewhere here. But yeah, these conditions are very, very difficult to say the least. You can see how wet it is on the track. And immediately, cars left, right and centre just making mistakes. Wing damage on lap 1. Penalties lap 1. Penalties lap 2. Forseti making a huge off there. Brought himself back on track again, but this is just getting silly now. They are really trying to push the cars to the limit. It's just too far though. You need to maintain consistency and it will come to you. Forseti's already had to go to the pits due to wing damage. We've got a yellow flag in sector 1. Is that Lollyland? It's not. It's not Kai or Marky Mark, but it must have been Faircamp because Marky Mark is right there on the back of Faircamp now. Looking for an opportunity. If Faircamp runs wide, then Marky Mark might go for the outside again like he did earlier on Forseti. He hasn't got the run for it. He has barely even got the turning speed for it. And he doesn't want to turn too hard because he will lose the car very quickly. Here they come into the chicane. Right, Marky Mark. Still on the back of Fearcamp now. Nothing's changing as it stands. Really trying to push himself here. I really thought that there was going to be an opportunity for Marky to just slip it down there on the inside of Fearcamp, but no, Fearcamp's actually defended incredibly well. He's held back the Prima racing car, and that's mistake made from Marky Mark. I mean, he's not really lost that much. He's lost a fair bit of time to Fearcamp, half a second in fact, but Fearcamp then returns the favour by going a little bit deep into the corner. Marky Mark's staying very tight, staying very surgical, except on the exit where he gets a little bit wide, a little bit leery. Rexon getting a 2-second time penalty for cutting the corners. Needs to keep that under control. You can't have that far too many times. You'll very easily find yourself falling down the order, and when you're already P9, you need every position, every point you can get for the weekend championship. Dan, though, is really loving life at the minute. Look at that. 3.1 seconds is the lead he's got on the Yalta. There was a mistake there from Fearcamp. Marky Mark is going to be able to bring himself just a touch closer. And by a touch, I mean a half a second. So the same half a second he lost earlier, he's now regained that. But now he's just a bit too far back to sort of do anything. And on Hungary, in the wets, it's a very hard, difficult situation to actually attack anyway. The track is not the sort of track that you can that promotes overtaking. It's all about that home straight. It's all about the braking zone. It's all about not making mistakes to maintain the gap. Fossetti setting the fastest lap. He's suddenly found some pace. 1:44.650. And Marky Mark slowly but surely reeling Fearcamp in. Oh, Fearcamp's getting a little bit uncomfortable there on the entry to the chicane. Marky Mark is just hanging in about there, 4/10, 3/10 now. It's getting closer and closer, but like we said, it's not really a track you can just all out aggress on. And you can see that's not worked out for him. He's trying to close in, and every time he does, he makes a mistake because of just how slippy this track is and how much pressure is applied to you mentally to try and get the best exit out of the corner. And if you haven't really put a huge amount of focus on your exits in the wet conditions, then you can easily, especially in the F2 cars, you could easily lose the car, as we saw earlier for Fossetti when he clipped that curb, and that was it. His back end just went off into the wall. He went, and then he lost all that wing, had to go into the pits. And I'm really impressed with Kai Bacchini has managed to survive in P6 for so long with the wing damage that he has. I mean, you got Lollyland, who's behind in P7 with a completely intact wing. So it really sort of shows how good Kai's driving skills actually are getting. Marky Mark trying to look how slippy it is out there. Just understeers so hard through turn 1, and then you get the snap oversteer because of the torque that these cars put down, and the weight that they got as well is so hard to catch it. So you can't afford to lose it. You're also getting a time penalty. That's not going to work out well for him, although Absinthe is very far behind, 6 seconds in fact, and even further behind is Fearcamp, who's 9.6 seconds right here in front of us. Is that Fearcamp? Nope, Absinthe, sorry, it's not. We'll see if we can figure out where that came from. Fearcamp is in trouble now. This is not the first time that Marky Mark has been on the back of him though. Fearcamp did defend quite nicely. Not sure here what Marky Mark can do to properly attack. Yellow flag sector 3. Is that Rotograph? It is. Rotograph has lost it. In the that's a very easy place to lose it, to be fair. It's a very difficult corner, especially when you've got no grip. It can just be all over in a matter of seconds. Marky Mark, though, is still in the same position he was earlier, where he's still on the back of Fearcamp. Fearcamp is still finding a way to hold him back, and Marky Mark is just doing what he can, managing what he can. There's no ERS in these F2 cars, so there's no wearing down of a driver in terms of electrical battery. It's all about wearing them down mentally, outsmarting them physically, and Fearcamp is currently holding out. He's doing well. Oh, that was almost a big problem there. Nearly made a big off with his rear end, but he's held it. Marky Mark is really drifting around these corners. Honestly, he's doing such a good job of maintaining the pressure. Fearcamp seems to drive better when he's being chased rather than when he's chasing. You see how much better Fearcamp has started driving. I say that as he immediately runs wide. That's not how you do it, in case you're wondering. But he is in a position where he's got a nice gap between him and Marky Mark. Yeah, it's 4/10, but in 4/10 in F2 cars is the equivalent of about 7 or 8/10 in F1 cars. It's just not really an opportunity to do too much about it. Currently going into Sector 2 now. This is the quick left-hander where Vierkamp's run wide on almost every lap, except this one he does quite well. We are lap 8 of 9. And whilst we've not really seen any good overtakes, we saw Marky Mark earlier on Forseti, and that ended up being a little bit of contact and a corner cut from both of them. Neither got penalty, but still nonetheless that's the situation ended up being. It'd be great if we could see a dry sprint race, just so we can have a variation. Here comes Marky, looking for the push. Vierkamp needs to try and hold him back, and he's doing that. Marky just cannot find the gap. That's the benefit of the track as well. The track will not allow it. Marky Mark though now, Vierkamp's run wide. He's not necessarily going to be able to slide it down the inside. This isn't a DRS zone, even if there was DRS available. But Vierkamp, though, with the way that he's chucking into corners, surely he's not going to be able to make it without having a big off. Or Marky Mark could be able to get through. He's going for it anyway. No DRS, remember, but slipstream is still a huge factor. If Marky can get a better exit out of this corner than Vierkamp, then this position is his. Vierkamp gets a solid position, solid acceleration out of the corner. Marky does have DRS, and he's really revving the nuts off that car now. Here he is, slipstreaming for Vierkamp on the inside. Realizes there's not really much of an opportunity to go for it. He's going around the outside. It's going to be a really tough move to pull off if he can do it. Through turn 1, Marky Mark is going to have to take it all the way out, and he's gone onto the outside runoff. Vierkamp holds out, makes sure that Marky Mark has to do it on this lap now, and I don't think that's going to change unless Vierkamp makes a huge mistake. Now let's go take a look at our race leader, Dan, who has driven exceptionally well, except on the formation lap. That was the one mistake that you could really fault him for. And Yolta's, yeah, he was P1 initially, and we'll look at the gaps, the position changes. Sorry, he's lost a place, but he's still on the second step of the podium. There's still a battle going on. I can't even look away from it between Vierkamp and Marky Mark. Rotograph is getting involved here, but not intentionally. It's just a back marker. Gets a penalty for multiple warnings. He's going to have to jump out of the way as these two are going to be scrapping. This has actually helped Marky Mark a little bit. Might be able to go for a pounce as we come through the final stages. Looking for the inside now. Might be able to just dive in, do it, move, but no, not quite. Stays behind him. Still everything to play for. Still everything to pull off here. And Marky Mark can't deliver right now. He's lost a lot of time, and I'm pretty sure that's Vierkamp holding on to P4 unless Vierkamp has penalties. Race leader Dan has crossed the line and taken the win. Yolta is going to come to the line shortly after. There he is with Absinthe. Oh, big slide around the corner. Manages to make it look stylish. P3 for him. Vierkamp and Marky Mark, they were the battle we've been watching for the majority of this race. Vierkamp holds out around the final corner. He will cross the line in 4th, but does he have penalties? No, he doesn't. Marky Mark will hold out. Oh, that's a big slide there from Kai. No, it's not Kai. That's Rotograph. Sorry, Rotograph has crossed the line. Kai is okay. He's, I say okay. He's got severe wing damage on the left-hand side. And to be able to get P6 after taking a hit like that, it really says something about his persistence and his character. And it's really good that Kai takes P6. Forseti in a similar boat as well. He had a major off and managed to get his wing back, and he might not make it. Oh, he's managed to look after that car, stop himself from going into the wall. That would have been tragic if it had just hit the wall and retired. But here comes Rexon. He's going to snitch it for away from him. Oh, they both do. But Forseti jumps Rexon due to penalties, and McFreelick is coming slowly but surely. He's just having a bit of a rough time trying to navigate around this track. It's just so slippy here. So slippy. So that was the feature race, but remember, stick around because the sprint race for the F2 cars is coming up in a second. As the drivers, oh, McFreelick, he's really struggling with this car. I mean, he's managed to finish ahead of Rotograph, so a point is still a point, but he is going to be outside of the top 8, so he won't be able to benefit from the reverse grid order. He will actually start in P10, but he's going to make it now. There he is. And to the line. Right, so the first half of the races here in F2 have been completed. We just have now the 5-lapper, oh sorry, the sprint race, not the 5-lapper, the sprint race here in the F2 cars. There's the BWT. So look at the standings after that feature race. Here we go. So Dan in top step of the first race. Well done to him. Gets 27 points, obviously for getting the qualifying in such a good position. Fastest lap, sorry. as well. Yolta there in second, with Absinthe in third, Fearcamp in fourth, Marky in fifth, Kai in sixth, Lollyland in seventh, Falsetti eighth, Rex in ninth, McFreelik gets the final point, and Rotograph finishes just outside of it. So no points on the table for Rotograph. Will really need to pick it up together for this. As you can see, as it stands, Dan is winning, not just because of the win that he had, but he also got the 2 points on the fastest lap. Yolta's not that far behind. It's only 5 points between them, and realistically, if Yolta manages to get a 5-point lead in front of Dan and still get the fastest lap as well, he will actually take the whole lot. He will take everything for the weekend, which is, fabulous. And we'll get to see him again afterwards driving in the F1 cars. Whether or not driving in the F2 cars will affect him or not is a whole different story, but we will find out now. There it is. It's dry, I'm sure, to the drivers' happiness. They're going to be very pleased to see that it is dry, and it means that they can properly chuck in everything they were practicing in the time trial, especially for Kai. He was really giving it the full bean. So he's going to start around P4, I think, if I remember correctly, for Kai. He was P5, I think, earlier. Maybe P3. We'll see. I can't remember. Let's have a look. When everybody's readied up, they are actually looking at their strategies right now, thinking about how they're going to attack this one. We have seen on a few times we've gone for the super softs instead of just the standard softs. How are we going to see it today? Let me have a look. No, it's softs and mediums. So Forsetti is going to be leading us away on this formation lap and starting us off in this Grand Prix immediately. Just shoots up. Look at the pace difference versus the wet. Everyone's feeling a lot more lively. Everyone's like, oh, look, I've got grip in the tyres now all of a sudden. Kai's also in a similar boat. Starts P3 at the start of this Grand Prix. He needs to keep himself out of trouble, though. I know it wasn't his fault that he got involved in the contact between him and Marky Mark, but he needs to try and find a way to not get involved in any sort of collisions and lose wing, and that will allow him to just pace himself away. I actually think Kai is the fastest driver in these F2 cars right now in this lobby, but, obviously in the wet conditions, it's a whole different beast. It's a whole different ball game, and ultimately Kai just got caught out on that first corner. Wing damage meant that he couldn't get the pace down that he wanted to. He didn't want to pit, and I don't blame him. But it did mean then that he had no chance of improving. He could only stay where he was, and that cost him. But reverse order does mean, of course, that they get to start a bit further up than where they were. So it's only the top 8 that get to start in reverse grid order, which is why Dan is P8, Yolta is P7, obviously Absinthe, Fearcamp, Marky Mark, Kai, Lollyland, and Forsetti. So whilst Forsetti had a big off earlier, I'm hoping to see a different Forsetti now. He does seem to thrive in the wet conditions, despite what you saw in that last race. He does seem to thrive in them. It's just now, can Forsetti deliver everything? I have seen so many times in these F2 races that the medium tyres seem to last a lot more and a lot better than the soft tyres do. The softs just seem to disintegrate, and you come to lap 5, lap 6, you can see the performance from them just falls away. And on a track like this, you can't afford that. You can't afford to lose any grip in those tyres at all. It'll just destroy you. And if it does, that's not good news. That's not good news at all. Here we come then to the start-finish line. Let's just take a look to see where the back markers are. Oh, they're all here. All right then, let's get underway with this sprint race, the final of the F2 races here in Hungary. Then it's lights out. And slowly but surely we get underway with the Hungarian Grand Prix for the F2 sprint race. Lollyland will be trying to charge him down, but actually Marky Mark gets a stonker of a start. Look at this. Up in a P2. Fosse is trying to cover the inside. There's not really opportunity for him to do that. Big mistakes have been being made further downfield. That's actually... Who is that? That's Yolta getting involved. Big contact left, right, centre. That's actually Kai getting involved in that as well. Facing the wrong direction. Oh, no. No, that's not what you want. He just reversed and then drove straight into him. He's going to get a penalty for that as well. There's more wing damage on Kai's car. That's sad times to see. Forsetti has fallen down the order, gone down into P3 after the first few corners. Marky Mark, P1 now. And it's, Lollyland trying his best to hold it together. Forsetti's really charging. Yolta's actually coming in for it now. He's really committed to this. Look at him go for it. In the Campos racing car, braking hard. Forsetti dives a little bit deep there, runs wide in the corner. Lollyland makes a big mistake there. That's really bad off for him. Actually, right off the track now. And things are really heating up. And that's not just the track. We're also talking about the tyres and the drivers really committing to it. Lollyland's rear end seems to be very hot. On the mediums as well. I'm not sure what's happened to him there, but we are seeing that he's having problems. You got Fearcamp, who's P4 again. Manages to get back where he was earlier. Falsetti is P3 though, around the back of Yolta, trying to close in on him actually, but it's actually Falsetti losing out quite a fair bit. Marky Mark though, by the way, has just disappeared into the sunset. You'll see there's Yolta and there's Marky Mark right the way down the field. Already crossed the line to 135.5. In comparison, Yolta's was a 138.0, so almost 3 full seconds faster on that lap was Marky Mark. You got a little scrap going on with Dan and Fearcamp. Dan's gone down the inside. He's managed to get that move done and dusted. No hesitations from him. No waiting around. He is going for it. He's going to play catch up. He's going for the inside now into turn 2. Falsetti runs wide. Didn't quite expect Dan to be coming in as quick as he did. And that's actually pushed Falsetti really far out now. Dan's run off the track. Will have to bring himself back on. You can't allow the pass there. Now we're coming into a very quick left-hander. Is either the driver going to back out? No, they are not. Falsetti runs deep again. And still somehow holds on to P3. And Fearcamp's just watching this all unfold. There's nothing he can do about it. He's just trying to just stay there, stay relevant. Kai Bacchini having issues, actually scrapping with Rexon. Here he goes. Look at the move there from Kai. He's got around the outside. That is exactly what we want to see from Kai. Really keeping his head in this race and just pushing as hard as he can. And he has done that. So great stuff from Kai. Absinthe had a little bit of wobble there. And you got him chasing after Rotograph. And Rotograph obviously started. And I think he started dead last, actually. Yeah, he did. Look at that. He claims 5 positions. So Rotograph having a very hot and cold race, really, this weekend, sorry, where he was in the wets, he was not doing very well. He got yellow flag sector 2. That's Rexon is out. And it wasn't Kai. It looked like Rexon just made a mistake. So Falsetti getting a little bit pressured here from Dan. Marky Mark crossing the line again. Yolta is actually reeling him in. Look at that. Much faster lap from Yolta. That's the fastest we've seen. But look at the scrap that's going on. Falsetti again trying to defend. Dan's got the inside. There's nothing Falsetti can do here except stay alongside of him or go for a cutback. Neither of which will work out for him as he gets a big tank slapper. And immediately now you've got Fearcamp coming in for it, looking in towards turn 2. He's going to have the inside line. He's going to need to make sure he brakes very firmly. He doesn't want to run too far wide. He will end up going into the side of him and sending him off wide. But he doesn't. Fearcamp. Beautiful overtake there on Falsetti. Falsetti in trouble. Marky Mark. Oh, they both get it. Yolta was in a chance there of taking the position from Marky Mark due to penalties. And Yolta then just immediately answers back and says, I see what you're saying. I want to match it so we're on equal terms and I have to pass you physically on the track. But yeah, that's the situation that we're in, sadly. Falsetti on the back of Fearcamp, really trying to push himself again to bring himself further up. Remember, he started P1 at the beginning of this Grand Prix. Has chosen the soft compound tyres, so something is just not working for Falsetti. Maybe he's been playing a little bit too much iRacing, but he's trying to commit. Oh, big wobble there from Falsetti, but he's caught it again. This is nothing unusual for Falsetti, but it makes for really good, entertaining action here when he's doing stuff like that, making mistakes and managing to recover from it. It's great stuff. Absinthe is coming up to the back of Rotograph. You got a mistake there. Who's that? Yellow flag sector 3. Is that Kai? No. Lollyland. Oh, Lollyland's retired. Oh no, that's not what we want to see. And it's not in the safety car either. Sorry, in the pit lane. Oh, Falsetti running in. He's actually got himself ahead now. He actually had a little bit of contact between him and Fearcamp, but he's done it. Down the inside, Falsetti up into P4 now. Great stuff from him. A little bit of weave there. I think he's just saying to Fearcamp, that was a really nice little battle we had there. Let's keep it up. Let's have some more. Fearcamp says, sure, let me close up on you then, and we'll go for it. 3/10 is the gap to him and Falsetti. Don't make a mistake. Kept it together. Falsetti is still doing very well, actually. He's actually started to pull away. I really didn't think we were going to be seeing that, based on how many mistakes we've seen from Falsetti. And Absinthe is closing down Rotograph. Oh, a bit of a wobble there from Rotograph. Could have gone very south very fast, but it hasn't. Absinthe is slowly but surely reeling him in. He seems to be pretty comfortable there in P7, not quite seeing the pace that we would normally see from Absinthe. He's not really aggressive, not really trying to hold him back or fight him back. He's just doing the do, staying as he is, enjoying himself, having a nice little cruise around the Hungarian track. And yeah, that's it. So Marky Mark, still your race leader on lap 5 of 7. Yolta in P2. Dan sets the fastest lap with a 1:29.882, which was 6.5 tenths faster than his previous best. Veerkamp looking for anything he can on Forseti. Remember, Forseti made the move in turn 1 last lap, and Veerkamp can't return the favour, but he might be able to get a better exit, and he doesn't. Forseti is like a bullet. He is gone. There is nothing Veerkamp can respond with that now, and Absinthe is the only person who's really in any sort of line for action here. Forseti really throwing the car around the corner. Still holding on. Absinthe, no, getting a penalty. That's not what we want to see. There's a little sandwich going on here. McFreely gets a 2-second time penalty. Kai's having issues. He's falling down the order. That wing damage is really causing it a big deal for him. P9 means he will still get a point, but it's not going to be enough for him to just suddenly take the weekend. It's looking likely then that unless Yolta gets fastest lap and the race win, it's looking likely that Dan will take this. Is that Absinthe making a mistake? Nah, maybe. I assume so, because McFreely just suddenly shot past him and disappeared, so I can only imagine that he did make a mistake. And it's the two ART guys that are currently falling down the order, P5 and P6. I've been told that Lollyland had to retire because his computer had a lag spike at least once on every lap, and the last lap where he spiked for he completely lost control of the car. And oh, Veerkamp looking for him. Forseti's gone deep now. Veerkamp down the inside. He's gone for it. He sends Forseti out wide, and Veerkamp now up into P4. Lovely overtake from him. Forseti will not be backing out of this. He's going to be looking for the inside if Veerkamp leaves the door wide open. He can see a little sniff. He's sniffing for it. Where is that little gap for me, Veerkamp? I can't find an opportunity right here. I'll have to hold out for at least the remainder of this lap, but we are running out of time. Lap 6 of lap 7. Whilst Veerkamp is leading right now, that could change, especially on the DRS zone for the final lap. So Veerkamp pounced maybe a little bit too early, or he's either that or he's feeling confident in his abilities to hold Forseti back. But either way, he will be feeling the pressure from the Campos racing car. Oh, I thought he was going to send it there. I thought he was going to lick the stamp and full on Daniel Ricciardo it, but no, he hasn't. A little bit of a wobble there from both of them. Nothing too severe as it stands. Where is Yolta? You can see Marky Mark. He's 1.4 seconds off of him. Is he going to be able to reel him in a little bit as we come towards the final corner for what's going to be the start of the final lap? Forseti, Rotograph. This is a three-way battle that's going on right now. All for P4. Two of which are teammates. You've got the ART cars battling to an extent. And now, this is the do-or-die moment for Forseti. Has he got the pace? He's got the wing wide open, that's no doubt about it. Is he going to be able to get him in the braking zone? He's going to go for it. Huge send now from Forseti, looking for the apex. And he gets a bit more than that. He gets a 2-second time penalty for his troubles. And this has brought Rotograph into this now. Rotograph is going to have to go around the outside in towards turn 2. A little bit of contact between the two of them. And actually, Forseti is really squeezing him, trying to hold him out, but he just can't. He's done enough to maintain the position. Yolta's made a mistake there. He's fallen down to P3. So Yolta's no longer in the running for taking the weekend, despite the fact he didn't have fastest lap anyway. It's actually Dan who's got the fastest lap. So Dan has done everything he needed to in order to maintain the weekend victory, I guess you'd call it. As long as he finishes the line. Oh, Rotograph. Big wobble there. So Forseti's been gifted that now. He's been protected. All that stress has just been lifted off his shoulders. It's now down to Veerkamp and Forseti to see who the fourth place position will go to. Yolta's actually not that far ahead. Bear in mind he has a penalty. I know Forseti does. I don't know if Veerkamp does. I don't remember seeing a penalty for Veerkamp. He might actually get away with this quite nicely. So here we come to the final lap. There's Marky Mark, who's crossed the line and taken the win. But Dan crossed the line, takes P2. Yolta will eventually make it. P3. He might not make it. Oh, he's made it. Oh, wow. And he lost out. Veerkamp takes the third spot on the podium. So a huge jump there for Veerkamp to get onto the podium at the very last second. Mefrelik P7, Absinthe P8, and Kai, who is slowly but surely going to come to the line some 32 seconds later, is going to go for it. I think, if I remember correctly, I think that means, I think Marky Mark might have jumped Yolta. I don't think he's got the fastest lap. In fact, no, I know he doesn't. Dan's got it. I'm trying to remember who got the... Was it Yolta that got P1? I can't remember who got pole in qualifying. But we shall see in just a uno momento. All right, here we go. Let's have a look. So here's the results at the end of that Grand Prix. Marky Mark takes the win, gets 15 points under his name, with Dan getting 14 points because he also got the points for the fastest lap. Veerkamp in third, with Yolta in fourth, Fawcetti in fifth, Rosograph in sixth, McFreelix seventh, Absinthe eighth, Kai in ninth, and then you two DNF as well, Lollyland and Rexon. And then for the weekend, it's Dan who takes the win. 41 points in total, gained a lot in both races. Obviously, taking the win in the first one helped him massively. And obviously the two fastest laps as well really helped push that out a bit further. Yolta still holds on to P2. It was Yolta actually who got the fastest lap in the qualifying. So 4 points for him there. He does still finish 11 points behind Dan. Marky Mark, who gets the most points at the end of the round 2. But still 25 points for him. Veerkamp for 22 points in 4th. Absinthe in 5th. Fawcetti 6th. Kai in 7th. Lollyland in 8th. Roscraft 9th. McFreelix in 10th. And Rexon is in last place. Right, ladies and gents, that is the end of the F2 cars, but don't go anywhere because we are going to bring you the F1 cars. So be prepared for that because this is about to be exciting. Stay tuned. I'll be right back.